Good morning, and welcome to Zion United Church of Christ, where we've been worshiping together since 1854 in downtown Mount Clemens, Michigan. Wherever you are in your journey with God, all are welcome to worship here with us at Zion. A few announcements before we get started here today. You will see in your bulletins this morning that we are singing Silent Night later on in our service. I just want to say you all are welcome to sing with us. We would love the help. For the Christmas Bazaar, if you are making donations for the baskets, please make sure that those are turned in no later than the week after Thanksgiving. So we have 2 weeks, that is 2 weeks from today. Also, those who are participating in the bazaar, we will be holding a brief meeting this morning during our coffee hour down in the social hall. So if you have volunteered, please stop by the social hall and get with Nancy Lang-Gilmet after worship today. Like I just said, we also have coffee hour today, so all of you are welcome to come down and enjoy some fellowship after service. We want to take a moment and welcome our two musical guests we have here this morning. We have Captain Ray Ossett, who will be playing the trumpet, and our friend Todd Weiber is back with us on the bagpipes. So we thank them both this morning for joining us. For the community meals, we actually have 5 turkeys that are available for use for those who are hosting the community meals. They will be on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you are hosting a meal, go ahead and get with Sharon Tesner. She can get you the information and make sure we get a turkey for you. But we do have those for use, so let's make sure that we do use them up. I also want to say that we have a face in our congregation this morning that we haven't seen in quite some time. I personally want to say welcome back to Miss Barbara Vandekar. She has been our online hype person for everything the Stream team has done. We are very thankful for everything that she's done over the last 2.5 years. I'd also like you all to join me in wishing her a happy 80th birthday, which is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Barb. And thanks again for being with us. As you all know, today is our Veterans Day service. We will have handbells, singing, a trumpet player, bagpipes, and stories. I will let Marge let you know the rest, so stay tuned for her introduction. With that said, let us now enter into worship.
and how you soldiered on. I'll remember you from the letters Grandma showed me. There were times that you were lonely, all those nights that you were gone. I remember you. It'll always stay that way. You gave your tomorrow so we could live today. We'll never say goodbye to all you sacrificed. I will remember you. I'll remember you with this photograph beside me. That's what I have to remind me, and for the children all to see, they'll remember you and how you fought for freedom. There's 100 million reasons why your memory must live on. I'll remember you. It'll always stay that way. You gave your tomorrow so we could live today. We'll never say goodbye to all you sacrificed. I will remember you. I will remember you. I'll remember you. It'll always stay that way. You gave your tomorrow so we could live today. We'll never say goodbye to all you sacrificed. I will remember you. I will remember you. I will remember you.
Good morning. The Old Testament reading for today is in Psalms, chapter 121, and verses 1 through 8. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. The second reading today is in 2 Samuel, chapter 22, verses 2 through 4. And he said, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold and my refuge, my Savior, thou savest me from violence. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Last year, after our Veterans Day service, Todd Weiber, our bagpiper, he said to me, "Well, Marge, what are we going to do next year?" And I told him, "I don't have a clue," and I didn't. But then Pamela and Paula Ulrich handed me a book called The War in New Guinea. And on page 167 were the reflections of their father, Paul William Ulrich, as he lay sick and wounded in a field hospital. I didn't even know where New Guinea was. So I pulled out my globe, and yes, I do still have a globe, and found it just north of Australia. And it was the scene of some of the most vicious fighting of World War II against the Japanese under the direction of General Douglas MacArthur. The author was a war correspondent for the International News Service who had been sent to New Guinea to cover the war. He met Paul Ulrich in December of 1942 and listened to his conversations with another soldier as they reflected on home, the war, Christmas, and their families. And I thought, this could be any soldier. This could be Valley Forge. It could be Bull Run. It could be Flanders Field, the jungles of Vietnam, Iraq, the mountains of Afghanistan. "Gosh, I wish I was home," Paul said. What soldier in the midst of battle doesn't wish the same thing? Later on in the service, we are going to hear Alex and Amy sing Dear Theodosia from the musical Hamilton. It's a beautiful song that Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, who were both Revolutionary War soldiers, they sing to their infant children. "We'll bleed and fight for you. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, we'll pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you." Today, we thank our veterans for doing exactly that. I would especially like to thank Pamela and Paula Ulrich for sharing their father with us today. We are honored.
Paul Ulrich was a lifelong member of Zion Church, and like many of us, he was a grandson of German immigrants. He was born on August 12, 1913, and was the son of Paul Ulrich and Bertha Brandenburg. Paul grew up on the Ulrich farm, which was on a lane off of Card Road, not far from the Tessner farm where Carl and Sharon still live today. According to Carl, most of the farms back then grew corn, wheat, and oats, and many of them drove their produce down to the Eastern Market. He attended the Atwood School, and in the winter was able to skate to school. In 1927, he won the spelling bee and won a dictionary after competing against spellers in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Paul attended Mount Clemens High for 3 years, but had to drop out to help his father on the family farm. Paul knew everyone in Mount Clemens. He loved to dance, especially the polka, and he was the life of the party. On March 15th, 1941, Paul married Eleonora Hicka at the family home on Little Road, and Pastor Jacob Wolfman officiated. The United States was not at war yet, but the sabers were rattling, and it wouldn't be long. On April 23rd, 1941, Paul Ulrich was drafted.
Christmas time, 1942, in a hospital tent somewhere in New Guinea. It was almost Christmas, and most of the boys were homesick. They had fought long and hard, and they had seen thousands of their comrades killed or wounded. Paul Ulrich shares his thoughts. Well, there I am, almost buried in swamp mud with kunai grass all around me, and that damn stuff can cut like a knife. A hazy moon makes everything look sort of ghostly. There's a little stream over to the left, and in the thick brush on the other side, there's a Jap sniper. I know he's there because every time I move, he takes a shot at me. Back behind me, I can hear our mortars banging away, and somewhere off to the right, there's machine guns popping to beat hell. Come daylight, we're going to bust ahead, but until then, all we got to do is sit tight. Well, it's sure funny what runs through your head, danger or no danger. There I am, dog-tired, wet, hungry, and I get to thinking about my wife Eleanor, and about Mom and Dad, and my brothers and sisters back home. Then I remember it's only a couple of days to Christmas, and I get blue as hell. Merry Christmas. Gee, and I'm wondering how merry this one's going to be. And peace on earth and goodwill to men and all that. And here we are, and there the Japs are, and I can't see where there's any peace or goodwill either. Then I got to thinking, we got to lick these bums so everybody can have Merry Christmases all the time without having a lot of crazy guys telling us how to do things. Just about then I move around some trying to find a dry spot, but there ain't any. That damn sniper fires a few more rounds over my head, and I catch the flash of his gun and fire back. After that, I'm not bothered anymore. So I'm feeling pretty good. But I wish those mortars would lay off for a while. But you get used to the noise, and I go dreaming again about home and snow on the ground. You know, the nice white flaky kind.
Of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
I keep thinking about houses all lit up and little Christmas trees in the front parlor all filled with little blue and red and white and green electric bulbs, or maybe little colored candles and sticks of candy hung on the branches, and bells and presents, and everybody laughing and happy and having a swell time, and the neighbors coming and going. And just about now, Mom would be planning the Christmas dinner and getting presents ready for the iceman, the milkman, the letterman. Gosh, how I wish I was home. And that Christmas dinner, turkey and stuffing, cranberries and pumpkin pie, lots of coffee. But us kids, we always got milk. Then we'd hang up our stockings on the mantelpiece, and Mom would hustle us off to bed so she and Dad could fix up the presents, and Christmas morning we'd all be up early shouting and laughing, and maybe I'd have a sled or skates or a baseball bat. Gee, those were the days. Then we'd all go to the evangelical church.
In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. And all went to be enrolled, each to his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be enrolled with Mary his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for her to be delivered. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. And in that region there were shepherds out in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with fear. And the angel said to them, "Be not afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of a great joy, which will come to all the people. For to you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among men with whom he is pleased." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
I've got the finest little mother on earth. I'm lying up here, up there wet and hungry and thinking about my Christmas dinner this time will probably come out of a tin can when all hell breaks loose up ahead. The Japs start shelling us good, and from then on I ain't got much time to think about Christmas. Paul shared his story from a field hospital where he would stay until August. He had been shot in the arm and the leg and had malaria. He was discharged back into active duty. Later that year, he was shot again and once again returned to duty. And in late 1944, Paul was back in the hospital with dysentery. Once again, he was discharged to active duty. And finally, in June 1945, Paul wrote his wife a letter telling her he would be on his way home soon. Polaric's war was finally over.
have my eyes, you have your mother's name. When you came into the world, you cried, and it broke my heart. I'm dedicating every day to you. Domestic life was never quite my style. When you smile, you knock me out, I fall apart, and I thought I was so smart. You will come of age with our young nation. We'll bleed and fight for you. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, we'll pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you, and you'll blow us all away. Someday, someday. Yeah, you'll blow us all away. Someday,
Philip, when you smile, I am undone. My son, look at my son. Pride is not the word I'm looking for. There is so much more inside me now. Philip, you outshine the morning sun. My son, when you smile, I fall apart, and I thought it was so smart. My father wasn't around. I swear that I'll be around for you. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll make those things all for you. Come of age with our young nation. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you. Yeah, you'll blow us all away.
Paul Ulrich came home to Mount Clemens in late summer 1945. After 4 years in service, his war was finally over, sort of. Paul had been shot twice. He had been hospitalized numerous times for his wounds, malaria, and dysentery. He had suffered 106-degree fevers, ulcerated legs and feet. He had endured the horrors of war. Paul received a Purple Heart, yet he never talked about the war. Paul and Eleonora moved into an upper flat on Cass Avenue, and he got a job driving a Texaco oil truck for Goodar Oil. They had 3 children, Gary, Pamela, and Paula. On September 17, 1952, Paul Ulrich suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and died.
Abraham Lincoln, in his second inaugural address, just weeks before his assassination, said this: "With malice toward none, with charity for all, let us strive to finish the work, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan." If we are going to send American men and women into battle, we need to take care of them when they come home. It isn't enough to give them a free dinner at Applebee's. It isn't enough to walk up to them on the sidewalk and shake their hand. Some of you have told me that the World War I plaque in the back contains some of your relatives who were gassed in France. And several of you have shared that your loved ones came home from Vietnam suffering from Agent Orange. President Biden recently shared that his son Beau got brain cancer from the burn pits in Iraq. Paul Ulrich's death was blamed on the malaria he suffered in New Guinea. But when his wife, his widow, at age 34, asked for a veteran's pension, she was turned down. Maybe she could have fought harder, but she shouldn't have to, because Paul Ulrich did the fighting for her. He did get a Purple Heart, but a Purple Heart doesn't pay the bills, and a Purple Heart would not feed Paul Ulrich's orphans. We may not be at war right now, not directly, but Ed Bray has a granddaughter serving on a submarine somewhere. We may not know exactly where that submarine is, but we know this: it is keeping us safe. It is protecting our freedom to sit in this church on Sunday morning and worship the way we choose. And we are grateful. We need to care for our veterans. It has nothing to do with politics. It's just the right thing to do. May God bless America, and may God bless Zion Church.